While far from contained, there was good news today in the effort to contain Canberra's COVID-19 outbreak. The ACT has recorded 2 new positive COVID-19 cases over the past 24 hours, taking the total cluster to 9. Both new cases are men in their 20s. Today also saw the first day of the lockdown across all of New South Wales, including just across the border in Queanbeyan. Reporter Lisa Glenday joins me from there now. Lisa, the border situation in a moment, but first, what happened in Canberra today?
Well, Dan, just 2 new COVID cases is a relief, but there are a growing number of Canberrans who are now considered close contacts. That's sitting at almost 6,000. And in fact, there are now exposure sites right across the ACT. We've got new locations in Woden and Tuggeranong, and there are fears of a growing cluster at a city nightclub. It's the Canberra club that's led to a COVID cluster.
Top down.
Both of today's new cases are men in their 20s. One was at the Pact Fiction nightclub last weekend.
So it's essential that anyone who was at the Fiction nightclub at the exposure times gets tested and remains isolated.
The other has no obvious links to other cases. Canberra now has a total of 9 active COVID cases. 2 of them are linked to the Gold Creek School.
So we definitely know that there is 1 case and then 1 close contact of that case who's positive.
5,700 Canberrans are now considered close contacts. There are more than 50 exposure locations spread right across the territory, with a number now in Phillip, including Club Lime and Lennox Jaguar Land Rover. A member of Basketball ACT has tested positive, and the Southern Cross Club Stadium in Tuggeranong is an exposure location.
We know that a lot of our community were having tests this morning, so hopefully we will have good results from all of that, but we'll just have to see how we go, I suppose.
Almost 6,000 Canberrans turned out for testing yesterday, a record for a single day. To keep up with demand, Defence is being called in.
So Department of Defence is providing clinicians to support the testing at public clinics in the ACT. So 16 staff will be deployed by ACT Health to testing clinics across the ACT as required from tomorrow morning.
The ACT is set to receive an extra 14,000 doses of Pfizer this week, following an announcement from the Prime Minister.
It's a welcome boost to supply, but to put it in perspective, it's roughly the equivalent of 1 week's worth of additional doses.
While today's figures are a welcome relief, the Chief Health Officer says no decision has yet been made on whether Canberra's 7-day lockdown will be extended.
We know that 14 days is the maximum incubation period that we work to, and if there is an infectious case in the period in that period of time, I've previously discussed the need that is our risk period time. So I think we need to be realistic.
Until then, Canberrans are being asked to stay home. Lockdown can often be an isolating and a monotonous experience for those that are learning and working from home. Now, some Canberrans are getting creative about ways to get busy and to stay connected during Canberra's latest COVID outbreak.
Thousands of Canberrans have spent their first weekend of this lockdown inside. But COVID-19 hasn't managed to cancel all of the fun.
Here.
It fell down. It fell down.
Samantha Grawl has moved her party business online and is doing it for free.
Canberra went into a snap lockdown, like most of the kids were just at school, and then they get home and suddenly mum's saying, you can't go to school tomorrow, you can't visit your friends, you can't have your birthday party, you have to stay at home.
She's hoping to provide a welcome distraction to even the youngest Canberrans, whose plans may have been upended by the snap lockdown.
Seeing kids devastated that they can't celebrate their birthday, especially because their party's been cancelled, they have to have some way to make their days feel special.
It's not just parties that have gone virtual.
Mary, Mother of God, pray for us.
Churches are among the other services making the move to online. The steps of St Nicholas's Greek Orthodox Church in Kingston were eerily empty on what is usually a big day for the faith. Services were instead live streamed from Sydney. It's all part of an effort to keep some semblance of normalcy and to continue on with life in ways that are COVID safe while the city is in lockdown.
I hope I can just make kids happier with their day if they just get some interaction with someone face to face, especially a character that they're familiar with.
Others are spending their time outside for their 1 hour of daily exercise, not only to stay physically active, but to keep their mental health in check as well.
It's get up and go for a walk before sitting down working from home. Getting outside and being able to be outside is so crucial. Being stuck indoors isn't ideal for anyone, but it's what we have to do at the moment. So that 1 hour to me means so much, that I can get out, experience nature, get some fresh air, get some sun on my face. It means the world.
Canberrans doing their part to stay occupied and COVID safe throughout the lockdown. Madeline Austin, ABC News, Canberra.
The Chief Minister has welcomed the announcement here in New South Wales about a statewide lockdown. He says it's going to give the ACT an extra level of protection. And now it means it doesn't matter where in the capital region that you live, whether it's here in Queanbeyan or across the border in Lyneham, we're now all in the same situation. But there's no love lost between the Chief Minister and the New South Wales Premier. Today, Gladys Berejiklian told reporters that Canberrans fleeing to the south coast was one of the reasons that they decided to go ahead with this statewide lockdown.
Please know that in a pandemic you have to act on the health advice you receive. We also had received advice yesterday about many people moving from the ACT down to the southern parts of New South Wales, which was a concern given what's happening in the ACT. And so that advice was provided to me yesterday, and we took that advice immediately.
From what I've heard from their press conference earlier, they're undertaking Operation Stay at Home. Excellent idea. Would have been even better about 7 weeks ago.
And here in Queanbeyan on the second night of lockdown, it's pretty quiet. There's a few people that have been popping out to get takeaway, but it seems largely everyone is adhering to this new lockdown.